blue ones, they're all color coded too. So the blue ones are ones that you're going to do every week no matter what.
Okay.
The red ones both have to do with changing the alkalinity and pH. So one will raise both and one will lower both.
Okay.
And then you have your tablets, the bromine, that's what's going to be in the floater.
Right.
That's going to be your sanitizer, so you're going to want to just check this like every week and make sure it's filled up.
Okay. And then what's that got?
So this is to help start it up. This is powdered. It's a powdered form of what's in the tablets.
Okay.
So this is just to help jumpstart it, and then the tablets will help keep this going.
So do you put that in there with the tablets?
So I put this just in the tub and let it flow through just to help jumpstart it. So then it gives you a good amount, and then these will slowly release and help keep this going.
Okay, and then that's my testers.
Yep, and then
how many tablets of the bromine? Like, how many days supply is that?
this is a pretty good amount, I would say.
Are they big? We didn't look at them.
They're 1-inch tablets, so they're like kind of small.
pill.
Yeah.
So one a day. One.
I put in like 3 or 4 at a time. And then, but you can kind of gauge it. I'm just gonna put that as the beginning because it's just based on how much you're using it and how hot the water is and all that kind of stuff all factors into it. So so I would just start with that just to give you a good baseline, and then you can kind of tell from there, like next week when you start testing it on your own, okay, it's still high, so then I'll put a couple less this week and then see where it goes, how it goes from there, you know.
Yeah, okay. And does this chlorine differ than other chlorine? You know,
this is not, this actually isn't chlorine, it's bromine.
Okay,
so this is an alternative sanitizer. It's easier on your skin, less of the smell from chlorine.
Not burn the eyes.
Well, if there's too much sanitizer in there, no matter what kind of sanitizer it is, it's going to burn your eyes.
Right.
And also, if the pH is incorrect, it's also going to make your eyes burn. So it's more so making sure your pH is balanced and making sure you have the right amount of sanitizer in there is what's going to keep your eyes from burning. It's not necessarily the type of sanitizer that you use.
Okay. And now, how, like, okay, we put this in there today. How often do you test your water?
Once a week. And that's what I was just about to write on here. There's a little cheat sheet.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and it kind of gives you, like, it tells you what each chemical does and what its purpose and why you should be using it and all that kind of stuff. So,
and then we have y'all's cheat sheet.
Yes, and that's like more of like a step-by-step. Yeah. That one just kind of gives you information about the chemicals, but that tells you how to use them on a weekly basis. So what I'm going to do before I go over what each chemical is, I'm going to test it, and then I'll go over the ones that are based on the tests, which are these 3.
Okay.
And then I'll go over the weekly ones because those are, you're going to do that no matter what every week.
Even if it looks good to you, you keep doing all these chemicals.
Because yeah, I'll explain in a minute, but I'm going to test it first too, and then you just give it a couple seconds to get the colors, and you'll just compare straight down the line. So the first one, it says chlorine or bromine. That's like your sanitizer. So it's pretty much the same thing, but obviously there's none in there. Right. So one says total chlorine and one says free chlorine. The real difference that they say that is like what's in there that's already been used and then what's available. But really, you're not going to see too much difference on these colors most of the time. Okay. So really, you're just going to be looking at either one of them, make sure this level is okay, this level's too low, this level's too high, and you just kind of want to match your colors. And then the alkalinity and the pH, those go together. Right. So if the alkalinity is high, usually the pH is also high, which is the case right now. Right, yeah. So you can see that they're both a little on the high end there. And then the calcium, you won't ever have to worry about with this tub because there's no chemical that takes calcium out of the water. So the only time you have to worry about calcium is if it's a salt system, and you guys aren't a salt system, so you're good on that. So you're just looking at the top 4. And so based on that, there's 3 chemicals that you could possibly use. Obviously, the bromine, that's what's going to help your sanitizer. Right. And then you have the pH and alkalinity up and pH and alkalinity down. So since they're both high, the pH and alkalinity, we're going to want to use the down today.
How do you know that's down?
So it says pH and alkalinity down, and then the other one says up. So since they were both high, that's what we're going to use today because we want to lower both of them.
Both of it, yeah. Yep. Gotcha.
So these ones we're all definitely going to use, so we'll put those there. And then, so this one.
Is the weekly.
So yeah, so this, you'll start with this next week. This is the only weekly one that we won't do right now because what this does is called shock oxidizer. This burns the used sanitizer out of the tub and makes way for the new sanitizer that hasn't been used to work. Okay. So pretty much it. What happens with like the bromine and stuff in a body of water like this, the gas is like the same or similar density to the water, so it's trapped in the water. So this oxidizes and burns that gas out of the water and makes way for the sanitizer that hasn't been used yet to start working.
Okay.
So this makes your sanitizer more effective by doing this on a regular basis.
Now, how much of that do you put in?
I wrote on here one capful.
Cap.
So it's just the inside of this. Yeah.
Okay.
And just fill it all the way up.
Now, after I put that in there, do you have to wait a little bit?
Yeah, so
you
anytime you're adding chemicals, you want to wait at least 2-3 hours before you get in, just to be safe.
Yeah.
Because really, like after an hour is like it's mixed up, but I would wait at least a couple, just especially if you're doing like more than 1 or 2 chemicals at a time.
Especially today, if you're gonna start.
Yeah, definitely. And besides, it's going to take a little while to heat up, probably too.
Right. Okay.
So we won't do this today because there's no sanitizer to take out yet. So you'll start with this next week. Once you get on a good schedule, it's all about repetition. The more you do it, the easier it'll become, and you'll start noticing patterns like, oh, I'm using this every week. I'm never using these. So you'll kind of develop that, and then it'll make it easier on you to know like what stuff you're going to need more of and stuff like that. Because you're not going to be buying a whole startup kit every time you need one chemical. You're just going to get what you need. Yeah, exactly. With this too, there's a hole in there, so it can go all the way down, but what you can do too is you can go like this, so then there's more of them actually being touched by the water, and then this kind of will go down and be a stopper for that, so it doesn't go any farther.
That's an idea. Okay.
So it's just kind of based on like how much you're using it and stuff like that too. With these, because they do like, it does still smell a little bit like chlorine.
Yeah, you don't want it.
And stuff. So what I do is I just like get a couple like this, and then I'll just try and be as gentle as possible so I don't get it all over me.
Right.
And it's not going to be perfect either. So.
No, they're in there. They're going to melt.
Yeah,
anyway.
I'm going to start with 4 for now.
Right. And you usually do 3?
Yeah, I mean, it's really,
2
you'll
to 3.
kind of just have to see like, okay, I still have a lot of bromine in there, so I'll just do what I did last time, because that means it's lasting until you need to use it again.
Okay.
If it's still high, then okay, I'll use less. If it's at 0, then okay, maybe I need to add more next time.
Okay, alright.
So it's just kind of like a wait and see kind of thing
Now,
in the
do
beginning.
you have to, after, let's say, well, it should be covered, but just say if it didn't, and it started raining and pouring bad, and you couldn't get out there and cover it, do you test it big time after that? I mean, you're going to hope you get it covered.
Yeah, I would say, in the event that happens, if you wanted to, I would maybe either just test it after it's done raining, or test it like a day earlier than you normally do, because it's going to dilute it a decent amount. Yeah. But if it's just a little bit of water, then it shouldn't be too much difference. But if it's like a downpour, then it'll just sit like that. And then it's easy, so when y'all need to check it, when you guys need to check it and it's in the middle of the tub, then you can't get to it. If it's right here, you can just pull it off and get to it whenever you need. Yeah. If you want to do it like here instead, it's out of the way for when you get in, all that kind of stuff. I want to make sure it's running for when I add the other chemicals to mix them up. I just like to add it right where the jet is, so it mixes it up as fast as possible.
And what is that?
Forget it.
That's the bromine granular, so that's just like a jump
starter.
start. I would recommend probably getting some and just in case, like say, like the water is looking bad for some reason, or say you're gone and you couldn't get anybody to take care of it, then that would just give you an extra kickstart immediately, so you don't have to wait for those to dissolve. That's the only thing. So that's the only thing I would say you might want to like buy soon, but you won't need it for the foreseeable. You won't need it immediately or anything. And then I'm gonna do 1 capful of the pH down.
Yeah.
And since this is a bigger style tub, I'm going to overflow the capful a little bit just because you need a little extra. So I'm going to do like that.
Okay, gotcha.
And then just straight in. This is the metal and stain control. So what this is going to do is going to prevent staining on the surface, the water line. If there's any hard metal in the water, it will help take that out as well. Alright, so that's pretty much it for now. So all you're going to want to do is just wait like 2 to 3 hours, and then you can get in.